For question 2, we need to sketch the curve of y equals the absolute value of 2x squared minus 5x minus 3, and we need to state the coordinates of any points where the curve meets the coordinate axis. So we need to find the y-intercepts and the x-intercepts. So we're going to start by finding the x-intercepts. So that is when y is equal to 0. So we need to find what values of x does that part inside the absolute value signs equal 0. So I've written out that expression there in red. So we're going to factorize this and set it equal to 0 and find our values of x. So to factorize this expression, I'm going to do this in a more systematic way. So first of all, we want to think of two numbers that multiply to give negative 6, because 2 times negative 3 is negative 6, and add together to give negative 5. So that'll be negative 6 and 1. So we can write that expression then as 2x squared minus 6x plus x minus 3. And the first two terms there, they've got a common factor of 2x. So I can take that out and write 2x, x minus 3, and then plus x minus 3. So then we're going to get 2x plus 1 times x minus 3. So now I'm just going to set that equal to 0. And that means our values for x then is, well, 2x plus 1 has to equal 0, so x is going to equal negative a half, or x minus 3 equals 0, so then x is equal to 3. So the coordinates then for our x-intercepts are going to be negative a half, 0, and 3, 0. So now we'll find our y-intercept. So that's just going to be when x is equal to 0. So plugging x equals 0 into our equation up here, we're going to end up with y is equal to the absolute value of negative 3, and that just means y is 3. So our y-intercept then is going to be 0, 3. So now that we've got our x-intercepts and our y-intercepts, we can go about sketching our curve. So putting our x-intercepts in then, we're going to have negative a half 0, which is say about around there, and 3, 0 there, and our y-intercept is 0, 3, which is about there. So some other information that can help us when we sketch our curve is, well, we can think of where the minimum or maximum point would be on this parabola. So if we just think of the graph without the absolute value signs, we just get y is equal to 2x squared minus 5x minus 3. Well, this is a U-shaped parabola because the coefficient of x squared is positive. So we're going to have a minimum point somewhere, and the x value of that minimum point will be halfway between our x-intercepts. So for our one here, that's halfway between 3 and negative a half. So to work that out then, I would go 3 plus negative a half, which is 2.5, divide that by 2, and we get 1.25, which is about there. So to sketch this, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make a sketch first of y equals 2x squared minus 5x minus 3. That's without the absolute value signs. Then any part that goes below the x-axis, we can just reflect through the x-axis to get our graph of y equals the absolute value of 2x squared minus 5x minus 3. So doing that then, so we'd start up, say somewhere around here, come down, would hit our x-axis, and I'll just do this next part in black. So if we're just looking at this part here without the absolute value signs, well, our y-intercept would be 0, negative 3, so that would be, say, about there, and then we would just keep coming down. Our minimum point, say, about there, coming down, hit our minimum point, and then would come back up and continue on. So what we'll do then is we just need to reflect that black dotted line through the x-axis, so we get this y equals the absolute value of that expression there. Okay, so I'll switch back to red. So our maximum point, we're going to have a local maximum, say somewhere up about there, and we're going to just draw our curve through, hit the maximum, and then it's going to start coming back down. Okay, so that's a rough sketch of what the curve would look like in the red there. So our x-intercepts we've got there, and our y-intercepts we've got there. Okay, so that is question 2.